Ian Pryor is with me now. He knows a lot about this subject. Ian, is this the start of a fight back on gender?
I don't know if it's the start of the fight back. It's the continuation of the fight back. I think we've really been seeing this probably for about 2 years. But, listening to that clip, I'm really confused what the child's right of privacy is vis-a-vis the parent's right to guide the upbringing of their child. I'm not aware of any case law, out there that says a child has a constitutional right of privacy against their own parents. I mean, they have to get a permission slip for Tylenol. If a child comes in and is addicted to opioids, is the school not going to tell the parents because that might infringe on the child's right to privacy? I mean, this is absolutely absurd, and it's about time that courts start showing some consistency in respecting the fundamental right of parents and really start defining that law and saying what are schools for and what are families for. And they are two very different things. And unfortunately, we're getting very different rulings from judges all over the country.
Okay, now, separate case. A 12-year-old boy in Colorado was kicked out of class for having a "Don't Tread on Me" flag on his backpack. The school claimed the flag has links to slavery. The governor of the state, Jared Polis, he's a Democrat, he defended the student. Now the school officially reversed its stance on the flag. In an email, the board says, look, we recognize the historical significance of the Gadsden flag and its place in history. So, Ian, how do you work out politics in the classroom? Because this is an example of politics in the classroom and the trouble that it creates.
Well, what you see from these school districts, and this is actually one of the first things that caught my attention that really propelled me into this fight, is they come up with these policies and they say, no hateful symbols, no offensive symbols. Well, who's deeming what offensive?
Exactly.
Who is making that decision? It's subjective. I remember, 3 years ago, somebody came to my house and I had, the join or die flag, right? That was Ben Franklin designed that flag. It was the colonies uniting really against the French and the French and Indian War. And the person said to me, is that flag racist? Like, no, why is every single thing in history racist to these people? And that's the problem. When you allow them to control these policies and these decisions and what is not offensive, you're infringing on free speech rights, and you're really trying to memory hole American history.
Yeah, everything's about race these days, isn't it? It's as if race dominates everything, including our history, and it's got to be scraped clean. I find it's like the world turned upside down, Ian.
I mean, it really is, right? It's race and it's transgender issues. These are the core issues of the left that they will not relent on, and they're going to keep fighting. And so, for parents that are pushing back, can't necessarily expect this is going to be solved in 2 years or 3 years. This is a long-term fight, right? This is an inflection point in the history of our country, and we have to keep fighting. We have to keep fighting in the courts. We have to keep fighting at school boards. We have to keep fighting at the legislative level and at the federal level, because it's going to be a fight that we have to be in it for the long term, and we have to win.
The Wall Street Journal is mocking the White House after the White House took credit for reopening the schools after COVID. The editorial board writes this: what an achievement. 3.5 years after the start of the pandemic, all schools are open. A little sarcasm there. What do you think, Ian? Does Biden deserve any credit for reopening the schools?
No, I mean, absolutely not. I think that when you look at who reopened schools, it was Republican governors. Republican governors are the ones that either kept schools open when blue states were keeping them closed, or when then Republicans came in, they reopened schools fully after, the Democrats were out of power, like here in Virginia. I mean, whether it's reopening schools fully, getting rid of masks, making them optional. You saw that here in Virginia with Governor Youngkin. You've seen it in other states. These are the Republican governors that reopened schools, not Joe Biden, and nobody's going to fall for this. I mean, everybody knows who closed schools, who kept them closed, and who reopened them.
Yes, we do. Ian Pryor, great stuff. Thank you very much for joining us, Ian. I know we'll see you again real soon. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jonathan.